Welcome to Down the Line. I'm Nathaniel Dell. Today we have Brook S. Shoemaker, the CEO and General Manager of Bedford Electric Co-op. Thanks for being on my show, Brook.
You're welcome, Nate.
I guess where I'd like to start is, what kind of education did you go through? Any college, any schools did you have to get you to the point in your career where you are today?
Well, I graduated from Bedford High School and went to the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown, and I've got a degree in business management and accounting from there.
Now, for everything you went through, all the classes you took, and I would guess you planned out your college education on your own. Are you happy with the education you received? Is there anything you thought maybe you were shorted or you expected more?
Well, no, I'm happy. I mean, it's the career path that I kind of stumbled upon was one that's hard to complain about. You know what the co-op world's like, and I was fortunate enough to land here. There was no grand plan. My plan was to get a college degree and get a job. And you get a job, and then you want to better yourself and get a better job and get another job. And I ended up really lucking into a job here at the co-op, and one thing led to another, and pretty soon I ended up being a boss.
How, as your career at Bedford Electric Co-op, where did it start? What kind of ladder did you have to climb to get to where you are now from where you began?
Well, I came here as the accounting and finance manager in 1997, and in 2007, the general manager sort of surprised us all. Wayne Miller surprised us all and resigned and moved on to a neighboring cooperative, and through a kind of a convoluted process, the board ultimately chose me to replace him.
Now, and you, as you said earlier, this was never your goal when you graduated high school. You never sat down and thought, a CEO of a cooperative is where I want to be.
Well, no, I never did that. And let me tell you just how much I never did that. I'm from Bedford. I spent my childhood here, drove up and down the road in front of the cooperative my whole life. And when I applied for this job, it was advertised in the newspaper. When I applied for the finance and accounting manager's job, I didn't even know that the cooperative was here. And that's kind of a testament to the way cooperatives tend to operate. I mean, we kind of stay under the radar, and we do our work, and we hope that we do it well.
In your career, the ladder that you've climbed to get where you are, the path you've taken, is there any one person you could say was the most influential person that helped you on your career path?
Well, I think at any rung of your career ladder, there's always somebody at every step with every juncture that is influential in your climb. I worked in public accounting before I came to the cooperative, doing taxes and audits and that kind of stuff. And there was a fellow there named John Huber that I spent a lot of time with and worked with a lot. And, he encouraged me a lot in what we did in that business. And, of course, when I came here, I worked very closely with Wayne Miller, who was the general manager at the time. And, Wayne taught me about the electric business. So those were two really influential people in my life.
Can you look back on any one moment and say that was the turning point for where your career took you today?
When I was in high school, I knew that I had decided I was going to go to college, and I wanted to major in accounting. And a girl that I was dating at the time, her father was the manager of United Telephone at the time here in Bedford. And he and I were talking about my plans one day, and he asked if I was going to become a CPA. And I said, I didn't really think so. I wanted to be I wanted to be, in management. I wanted to operate a business basically. And he made the comment that, well, that's, it's good that you don't want to be a CPA, because if that's the path you take, then you're going to focus more on public accounting and less on operating a business. So that was kind of a turning point, I think. That's always sort of stuck with me.
Well, now that we've got a little idea of how you got here, the path you took, your career path. What's your day to day? How does your day start? How does it end?
Well, it never starts the way I think it's going to start, and it never ends the way I think it's going to end. So it's my day really revolves around who walks in that door next and why they're there. No days are the same. My role at the cooperative is, in my view at least, is that if I walk out the door tonight and get hit by a bus, never to return, the co-op, in the short run at least, is going to operate as normal, as usual. And I think it would do that. So my role is primarily to try to look beyond the next year or two or even 5, and kind of see where we're headed.
Now, you've been here for long enough to see a change in the men that are here. You've seen management flip. You've seen the workforce flip. In your mind, what do you think of when somebody says the word respect?
Well, respect can mean 1,000 different things, and 1,000 different things in good ways. But I think the ultimate measure of respect is how you're thought of amongst your peers, and you can tell that when you work around a group of men or a group of ladies, or a company. You can tell who has the respect of their coworkers, and those are the leaders of the organization.
Is there anything that you think, from your perspective, from your standpoint, is there anything that you think might get overlooked, or a message you would like to convey to people starting in our field, lineman, meter reading, even in the management aspect of our field, that you think maybe gets overlooked that you would like to share?
Well, there's probably 2 things. One is communication, and I think communication gets overlooked in virtually any aspect of life, be it at work, with your coworkers, with other departments, with in our case, the folks that work in the office, and the guys that work out in the field, and vice versa. I think communication, and this is important, very important. Communication's important at home as well. I mean, if you can't communicate with your wife, that's a problem. And lack of communication is always a problem, and it always surfaces eventually. Secondly, and Nate, you've been around the business long enough to realize how technology has changed. When I first got here, we had some linemen who were approaching retirement, and we had some guys had just retired that had been, my goodness, they took us back into the 50s or maybe the 60s at the time. And their only interest was in poles and wires and trucks, period. And probably when you first began, to some degree that was still the case. And you've watched over the years how computers have taken over, and GPS has become a big thing, and now drones and handhelds and your cell phones, and it's really important that whether you're a lineman or whether you're inside the office or whether you work at the front counter, you've got to embrace technology and be willing to change.
It makes a big difference. It does. It helps with maintenance in a big way.
And we've struggled so much over the years. We have computers, we have fancy software programs that do this or that, but we've made mistakes, and some of the mistakes, a lot of the mistakes we've made involves communication, whether it be the written word or verbal. And I think we're past that now, I hope.
So everybody sees everybody they work with at work where they are. You see Christy behind her desk, you see you behind your desk. You rarely come out with the guys, and we rarely come back here because we're in two different work environments. We have two different jobs. That's what we do. What are your hobbies, Brooke? What do you do in your spare time? Who's the man that's not behind the desk? When you're relaxing with a nice cold beverage, what are you doing?
Well, when I'm relaxing with a nice cold beverage, not very much else. Because I don't mix cold beverages and anything else that I do very often. What do I do? Well, I've got kids that are basically from two generations. I had two kids from a previous life that are grown now and out of school and on their own, and I've got a 13-year-old daughter. In both cases, I've spent a lot of time coaching their sporting activities. I continue to coach softball and basketball, and if this pandemic ever ends and the surge that we're going through today, I'll be a junior high basketball coach for the first time. Beyond that, I like to be outside. I like to take care of the house. I love to mow grass, as weird as that may sound.
I've started to enjoy it too. It's very odd.
I enjoy it. It's peace. It's quiet. Nobody bothers you while you're doing it. As I've gotten a little bit older and maybe put on a pound or two, or 10 or 20 or whatever, I've come to realize the importance of exercising and trying to keep somewhat healthy, and that has led me to I push mow a lot of my grass as much as time will allow anyway, and I've got a fleet of 30-year-old lawn boys that I do that with. So
I was waiting for that to come up. I heard that you like antique push mowers.
Oh yeah, yep. So always on the lookout for two-stroke lawn boy push mowers.
You may be the only one.
No, believe it or not, I'm not. Believe it or not, yeah. It's kind of, if that interests you at all, it's kind of addicting.
Everything is my hobbies. I'm addicted to my hobbies.
Yep.
Do you have any questions for me?
Well, one thing I'm still not sure. I'm sure about what's your goal with all this stuff.
From me coming here to Bedford was a big jump in my career, and not just my career, but kind of who I was. I was a foreman for a contractor. It's a whole different world. I went to work, I did my job, I went home. It was more of efficiency and safety than efficiency, knowledge, and safety. So I come into the co-op world, I get to meet a lot of people really quick because I went through the ranks really quick because of my experience. So I met a lot of people really fast. And the one thing I noticed with everybody I met, all the students in all the schools, all the linemen from other co-ops I met general managers and I met line superintendents. What I noticed was there is a lack of personalization in our industry. There's not a lack of personnel. There's not a lack of employees. There's a lack of personalization. There's a separation between management and the workers. And I understand it has to be there because we do different jobs. We go out in the field, we do our job. You guys are the reason we are doing our job. You make sure the bills are paid. You make sure we have the tools and safety equipment we need. You put together all the safety seminars in the schools we go to. That's what you do. You keep the ball rolling. We're the ones kicking the ball. But there's a lack of understanding of where we are in the industry today. The people that are coming into the industry don't have the understanding and the knowledge. And that's what this is for. This is to try to maybe, with the help of if you understood what string theory meant, everything's connected in a certain way, certain manner. Trying to connect everything we do to increase the knowledge about what we do and why. Like, you being back here in the corner, to everybody out there, you are the CEO. You are the iron fist. The rule comes down from you. But how many of those guys do you think know you like antique lawnmowers? It shouldn't be that way. Mm-hmm. We are all, in the beginning, when we all get up in the morning, the first thing we all do is get our coffee. We're all human beings. The minute you walk out that door and get into your Jeep, you're a coach. You're a parent. You're a husband. You're a real person. When I walk out of here, I'm a husband. I'm a parent. I'm a real person. I go home. I eat dinner with my family. I do what a father does. You're only what you are at work while you're at work. Mm-hmm. And that maybe didn't hit me until I started here, because that reality is a little off for our industry. Linemen are supposed to be the biggest, the baddest, the best. We've got a real ego problem as a whole, I guess. And I would say maybe starting at my age where I did kind of made me a little humble, but also I found this void, and I'm trying to fill this void. I'm trying to put a connection between management, the guys, the trucks, the knowledge, the tools, the equipment. Mm-hmm. And my YouTube channel's in its infancy. I've only been out there for 2 months. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm trying to do. That's my goal.
That's cool. Any time you need to come back here and talk about anything or discuss anything, the door's open 95% of the time. So
I appreciate that.
If it's closed, I'm probably taking a nap. So.
We played a good bit of tag to get to this point, didn't we?
Well, it's the way life is these days.
Brook Shoemaker, everybody. What a knowledgeable gentleman. He started quite a few years ago, just after I had came into the industry. Two completely different ends of the industry, but around about the same time. He had a ladder to climb too, and in his beginning, he never thought that this is where he would end up. Pretty interesting. I also find it interesting he collects antique push mowers. That's a hobby I really didn't know existed. As any hobby, it's our passion. It's what we like to do. It's what we enjoy. And I appreciate his passion as I appreciate my own. I don't understand the hobby, but I do appreciate it. He brought up two very, very interesting points. Very important, I think, in the industry is communication and technology. Where we've gone with technology in the last 20 years is outrageous. From everything being on paper, no digital records or archives, whatever, to now everything is digital. You can look anything up in the blink of an eye. You need information, you can get it now, right now. We do keep some paper records still, but a lot of it's digital, and some people are against that. They don't want to accept technology and believe that's the wave of the future, but it is. Technology is bringing us further in this industry, further than any of us ever thought we would go. With being able to use our iPads and laptops and phones to be able to chart our passage to an outage somewhere. They give you a location and you can GPS it and find it instantly without having to figure out what road am I turning on, or is this the right way, or it's outrageous. I use my iPad on a daily basis to chart my day and do my tailgate safety meeting in the morning on the iPad. It's definitely a handy tool to have. Communication is so important, and I agree with Brooks 100% on this. Without communication, you don't know what everybody else around you knows on your crew, in the office, wherever you may be. You don't know what they know unless you communicate, unless you ask. What do you know? What is the extent of your knowledge? What I need to know where my strengths in my crew lie and what I have to deal with. Your limitations are strengths. They let you know how far you can go. And part of communication is sharing your limitations and your strengths with the crew around you, so everybody knows what they can expect from you. Therefore, your foreman can actually look at you and say, this is what I need you to do. I know you can handle it. I know you understand it. This is what I know you can do. This is within your limitations. This is in your skill set. You don't know any of that without communication. Sharing knowledge. The sharing of knowledge is one of the most powerful tools in our industry. Not only our industry, but any industry. So we need to share knowledge, and the only way to do that is through communication. I thank Brooks for his time. He's a very intellectual man, and very busy man. It was very hard to get together with him and do this interview due to his coaching and his personal life and the pandemic we're struggling with right now, being on rotating weeks on and off the cruise to keep us separated. And I think they're doing the best they can. So I want to thank Brook Shoemaker again for his time. If anybody has anything you want to ask Brook, if you want to ask him anything at all, drop me an email, nddowntheline@gmail.com. Leave a comment in the comments box. You know, if I don't have an answer, I can ask Brook for an answer. I will take your question straight to him. If you have a question for anybody else I've interviewed on my show, drop me an email. I will more than gladly take that question to them and get you an answer. I am all about getting answers. My only purpose with my YouTube channel is to educate and inform. If you have anything you want to see, anything you want to hear, anything you're interested in or want to know more about, drop me an email. Send a comment in the comments box. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Drop me a message on Instagram or Twitter. I'm here for you guys. So I want to wish everybody happy holiday, Merry Christmas. Everybody stay aware, stay safe, and I'll see you down the line.